Hello and welcome to I'm Every Woman. This is the first episode and I'm happy to have you here. I am Janette Burke, your marketing magnet, and I am the host of I'm Every Woman, a show designed just for you, to inspire you, to encourage you, and to ensure that you have a balanced personal and professional life and that you can be all that you can be and muster anything. I have a great lineup of guests today, and one is Rosalie Moscoe, who's the author of Frazzled, Hurried Woman. Now, ladies, I'm sure you can appreciate this. You know how it is when we juggle too many tasks and too many responsibilities between career, family, home, and the list goes on. Well, Rosalie is going to provide us with some great tips today on how to thrive, not just survive. You will be able to take control, get calm, get focused, and have more fun when you hear her amazing tips, and also you will be qualifying to win one of her two books, which is Frazzled, Hurried Woman. This is the copy of it. And you will also have a chance to win her CD called Food and Mood. Well, we'll tell you how to get that later when you email me at Janette, Janette, at yourmarketingmagnet.com. Those four people who are the first to email in will claim those prizes today. And we also have a call-in number if you would like to call in with your questions for the guests. The call-in number here at the studio is 416-665-7500. We hope to hear from you. Now, my second guest will be arriving, and they are three of the hottest hunks 2012 firemen right from the calendar. We've got Emil, Mr. November, and two other surprise firemen coming in today to talk to us about why they created this calendar and how it benefits cancer research and funds through the Princess Margaret Hospital. So I hope you'll stay with us. We'll be right back after this short commercial with author, speaker, and coach Rosalie Moscoe. And welcome back to I'm Every Woman. I'm thrilled to have in the house today my first guest, Rosalie Moscoe, who is the author of Frazzled, Hurried Woman. This is her book. And she's going to be talking to us today about how to relieve stress in our overly hectic lives. Welcome, Rosalie.
Well, thanks. I'm really thrilled to be here.
Great to have you. Rosalie, you are an RHN and an RNCP. You're a speaker, you're an author, a stress relief guide and guru, a nutritional guide and guru, who's also won 2 Juno Awards.
I'm nominated.
Nominated? Okay, for 2 Juno Awards, and had a brilliant singing career.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about, first of all, do you consider yourself a frazzled, harried woman? What led you to write this book? And maybe also tell me a little bit about what defines a frazzled, hurried woman.
Well, I was it, that's for sure. And when I was in the music business, I had to go on tour at times. I had 2 children at home, a husband, a sick mother. And here I was traipsing around the country and singing. I was part of the duo Jim and Rosalie. And then I was solo for a while and did lots of concerts, and it was wonderful. I'm not saying it was fantastic. I loved every minute. But the realities are, when you're married with children and you have to traipse around, it's not so easy. And I started to get sick a lot. Started to get sore throats and headaches and backaches and stomach problems, irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, PMS, and I'm a mess,
and all kinds of stress.
All kinds of stress. And so I just felt I needed to do something. And then when I finally, I lost my mother to cancer, and then A few years later, I didn't do much to change my lifestyle until one day a doctor said that after a regular checkup, Mrs. Moscoe, there seems to be this spot on your mammogram. So I had a lumpectomy for pre-cancer and a little spot. I was lucky. I didn't need further treatment, but it sort of woke me up. I thought, okay, something's got to change here. I can't go run around being frazzled, getting into car accidents. I had 3 car accidents in 2 months. All of them were my fault. 2 of them were even at the same intersection.
Oh my.
So I was really frazzled. I was just running around like crazy, putting on lipstick in the car as you're driving, and I had all kinds of accidents. And it was ridiculous. I was just going and going and going, and I didn't know how to stop. So I made it my business to try to find everything I could to help myself, and I enrolled in relaxation techniques. I started to eat a little bit better, more spinach instead of chocolate. Not that I still don't like chocolate. And I really, really found ways, all kinds of psychology books, all kinds of, started to exercise a little more, feed myself better. And I found that I was getting healthier, and I was becoming less stressed. And I eventually changed careers, and I went back to school to study wellness and health promotion at Centennial College, and I ended up teaching stress management there. And then I still had this, I was always interested in nutrition, so I went back to school again, a late career, and I became a nutritional consultant, a holistic nutritionist, and I work with patients of a few doctors and give them, one of them is a psychiatrist, and we do using food as help people to heal.
Okay, so you've obviously been a frazzled, harried woman.
Oh yeah, I write this from experience.
You've got a lot of, exactly, you speak with authenticity, and
yes.
you can help other women who are maybe in the same boat right now, but maybe they don't know they're in that boat. Mm-hmm. So my question is, how can you tell when it's time to make these positive changes in your life?
And when things aren't going the way you want them to be going, when you're starting to feel exhausted all the time, run down, getting sick a lot, you feel like your stomach is always in knots, maybe you are having more physical problems, maybe you're moody a lot, people can't lose weight, sometimes they can't gain weight, sometimes they have problems, and they're just not feeling well. They're feeling that they're out of control, feeling that they're not enjoying life. They're just rushed off their feet, have too many commitments, and they're just not enjoying life, even the things that used to make them happy.
So in your book, which is a guide to thriving, not merely surviving, you give a lot of tips. You also cover in detail in several chapters specific things that need to change. 2 of the chapters talk about nutrition, 1 talks about stress management, and another talks about relationships. I would like you to comment on the importance of diet and exercise first.
Okay. It's really our wellness wheel, and nutrition is part of the physical part of the wellness wheel. We all have this personal wellness wheel we're walking around with: emotional, physical, mental, vocational, and physical is an important part because it's our cornerstone of our health. And so nutrition, if you're, even if you're exercising a lot and if you're not eating well, it's not enough. You must be nourishing your body. You must be, women have to know that you must be giving your body the fuel that it needs. Otherwise, you can't keep up with your busy lifestyle.
So what are some of the things that can give us that kind of fuel, that kind of energy?
Well, first of all, it's what you need to throw out. That's number 1.
Okay, what do we need to throw out?
We need to throw out things out of our cupboards and out of our fridges that's really non-foods, that are just really processed, have a lot of chemicals, that have a lot of sugar and aspartame and all these things, because they're really not good for us, because it takes the place of the good food that should be there, nourishing us. So we need to get rid of that, and we need to start eating healthy foods, just like, we know we need to. Any people that are mothers, I'm sure you tell your children you have to eat your vegetables, you got to have your fruit, you've got to have your complex carbs, not so many white carbs, because when we start having processed flour carbs all the time, it depletes our energy. It isn't giving us the fuel we need, because you see, your body is digesting all these foods, and And at the end of the time, if they're not getting back any nutrients from it, the body's exhausted. So if you're not getting back the bang from the back of the food, then you're going to be exhausted and tired and run down. And so you got to give your body, in this polluted environment that we live in, and in this very busy lifestyle, and stress depletes your nutrients. It can wash out your B vitamins, your C vitamins, zinc, magnesium, all the things that feed your brain and your body. People forget that food feeds the brain. So when you look at a plate of food, you're looking at things that can nourish your brain and your skin and your eyes and your whole body.
Now, you mentioned fitness, you mentioned food. What about the role of supplements? You mentioned a bunch of things right now, zinc, magnesium. Are you a big proponent of taking added supplements?
Only if you know that these are the ones that you need. And so I think sometimes people need to, somehow get tested, or there's some things that I could say to take without being tested, like omega-3 fatty acids. We all need the good fats. And vitamin C cannot hurt a person. It washes out of the body. You know you're taking too much if you have diarrhea. So there's certain things, and B complex will only give you energy. It'll perk you up. If you're not eating enough protein, then you may need a B12 supplement. Some women go very low on protein, I find. They're eating a lot of carbs, and they're not getting enough protein. And proteins, things like there's vegetarian proteins and there's animal proteins. But it depends. There should be little bits of protein in your meals, 3 meals a day. There should be a little bit. And that really will help women a lot. If you put some protein in your breakfast, protein in your lunch, protein in your dinner, that's the way I eat. And so there's many things that you need these supplements if you need them.
What happens to a woman when her body and when her body and mind is so stressed? What is actually happening to her?
Well, their heart beats fast. The more stress chemicals start going into the body. So like the thyroid starts producing more thyroxine, starts circulating. The blood sugar, you might get increased cholesterol in your blood sugar, because you see all of it is for fight or flight response. That's what the stress response is. It's good for us in case we're being chased down an alley. You want that more adrenaline going into your body so you can run fast, so you can fight, so you can, if you have to, or run, or just be aware and be. And so we need those stress chemicals for our survival. That's a man's earliest survival was the stress response. But then after it's over, you're supposed to relax and just come back to homeostasis. But the problem is our stress responses turn to the on switch too often. And these chemicals that are circulating in our body to help speed us up, they don't turn off. They're not turning off. And so then they end up just wearing us out.
And isn't it true that although we are equipped to be in flight or fight mode, that it's actually been proven statistically that women who are constantly in flight or fight mode actually can't survive? I mean, that's more like that way of going, and the hormones related to it are really much more for the male than the female, right?
Well, you know what, you're right though, that people can't cope. You can't end up coping, because then all your hormones get screwed up, so then you'll have worse periods, so you'll have worse, women will just not be very happy. You'll feel sick, and you'll get sick. People get more colds. Have you ever noticed you get sick after a very stressful time? Or if you're really, really busy, people are working hard and working long hours, they get sick after that, because their body just can't cope. The stress response starts stripping away their nutrients and all the things. Digestion stops when you're under stress, because all the energy goes to your limbs so you can run or fight. So then the sex hormones get depleted, so you may not have any libido. So there's lots of things that are happening to women when they're overstressed all the time.
Well, let's talk about what we can do to correct some of these problems. We've talked a little bit about the physical side of stress. There is the emotional side as well. I'd like to hear from you some of your biggest tips on how to combat the emotional stress. Maybe learning the word no and restructuring our day. A lot of women have trouble with learning the word no. They want to please everybody. Maybe you can comment on that and throw in some tips for how to combat the emotional stress and learn the word no.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, if someone asks women, we're the nurturers of the species. So we want to nurture people. We end up taking on too much very often. And you're right, we end up saying yes to everybody, and then we say no to ourselves. So we have to learn how to say no sometimes, or we're not right now. I'm sorry, I can't help you right now. No, I can't drive you to the airport in rush hour. I'm sorry. Or no, I can't be on this committee. My plate is full. And, people go on to find someone else. Don't worry. I think people are worried I'm letting people down. But if you really have to do something, you do it, right? But if you don't, you have to stop and think. You really have to evaluate all the things that you get thrown at you and pick what's appropriate and prioritize for yourself. So that's number one. And then you got to say, I really am sorry. I'd love to help you out, but my plate's full right now. And then the type E woman is trying to be everything to everybody. And we've got to sort of pull back and take some time for ourselves. I call it noodling time. A woman needs time to just, clean out her sock drawer. You need the time to just relax and take it easy. Go to a gym, or go to, if that makes you happy, or go to a park, or if you like to sew, do some sewing. If you like to cook, do some cooking. If you don't like any of those, find something that you enjoy.
What about spending time with other women? Is that a great coping mechanism for stress?
Enormously. When women talk with other women, they release a chemical called oxytocin. And it is has a calming effect for women, and they become less stressed. And it happens when they meet with other women, or even when they have children, a meeting with children, if if the kids aren't acting out. But it really is a way for women to release, they talk. Women talk about their problems, talk about what's going on in their lives more than men do. Men socialize and they sort of banter back and forth, but often, I shouldn't generalize, but very often that's the way it is. And women, it's a good outlet for women to be able to talk about things, and I think it's the best thing that they can do. I agree.
Today, the society is so changed. Most women are in working positions, and it's very hard for them to give up one thing over the other thing. We're going to continue with this topic right after the commercial break. We're with Rosalie Moscoe. Please stay with us. And we're back on I'm Every Woman with author of Frazzled, Hurried Woman, Rosalie Moscoe. And just before the break, I asked you, I said, Rosalie, today women have careers, they have families, they have to do it all. And we were talking before that about how to learn the word no and not overcommit and underpromise and put yourself first. But in today's society, because we have all these, responsibilities on us, I'd like to ask you to provide one strategy, one of all the many strategies in your book, just the one, your favorite one, which you think is the best one for coping with this crazy lifestyle.
Well,
go ahead. Tell me what.
Yeah,
what
well, you know what? Coping with this lifestyle, we got to become calm. So how do we become calm?
That's a good one. Yeah.
How do we become calm? Well, first of all, we have to, number one, recognize when we're out of control, when we're just rushing all the time for no reason, when we're slipping and tripping, and you say "excuse me" to poles, and when you
yeah, been there, done that. Okay.
And there has to be a time when we have to say, okay, that's enough. That's enough. I'm going to slow down. So what does that mean? Well, maybe you'll have to notice the way you're talking. Am I talking fast? Am I eating fast? Am I walking fast all the time? Am I rushing always? If I'm a mother, am I rushing my kids? Am I rushing everywhere? So that my life has become one blur of rush. And then once you recognize that, if that's your life, and it may not be for a lot of people, but for a lot of people it is. And so if you're there, then you got to say, okay, what can I do about it? And I'm going to do something. But once you start recognizing, and you got to stop that rushing, and you got to take a deep breath, and you got to do some. Actually, but for me, it helped me a lot to do deep breathing techniques, enormously. Can
you show us how to do some breathing?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Well, there's many, but one of the ones that I think that's easy for anybody to do is just take a deep, just even noticing your breath is very important. Taking deep breath in through your, not too deep because we don't want to pass out, but take a deep breath, a gentle breath in, and get your abdomen to raise. And then that's like the bellows of under your lungs, and that gives your lungs the air that it needs. Because if your heart's beating fast all the time, and then your lungs are, and then you start expanding the lungs, it'll slow down the fast beating heart. So we got to take a deep breath in right to our belly, and then maybe you can hold it, and then breathe out through your mouth. Sometimes you can do that. And when you do that, it automatically slows the body and puts you into a parasympathetic mode. The stress response is the sympathetic, and this is the parasympathetic, where it's the calming effect of our body that we naturally have. But sometimes we have to make it happen because it's not happening. It's not happening anymore. We just have gotten too, whirling around. So deep breath in, hold. People at home can try this. Deep breath out. It's nice if you can hold to a count, like 4 in, hold to the count of 4, and breathe out to the count of 5. And if you just continue this and do it a bit, you'll notice yourself starting to feel a little calm. And if you can do this a few times during the day, that will help start the process of getting you to slow down, because that's really what we need to do.
All right, so we've talked about taking control. Mm-hmm. We've talked about relaxation, slowing down.
Right.
Now we need to talk about how we can start having more fun in our lives. Because that's a big central message to your book as well, right? Yeah. And I want to remind everyone that if you'd like to claim one of Rosalie's great books, I've read this book cover to cover, and it is amazing. Please email me at Janette, Janette, at yourmarketingmagnet.com. The first 4 in will qualify to win one of the books. We also have another giveaway from Rosalie today, which is her CD called Food and Mood, the relationship between what you're eating and how it's affecting your moods. Claim that as well. And I want to also invite you to call in if you have a question for Rosalie or my other guest later today in the show, the Toronto Fireman from the calendar. The call-in number here is 416-665-7500, and you can see it on the screen. And I'm going to continue on, and we're going to talk a little bit about how to have more fun, which is a big proponent of the book, and the message that you have for women. What are some tips on how we can have more fun and enjoy our life? Because you're right, life is for the living.
Yeah, we need to enjoy ourselves. I mean, if we're not enjoying our lives, if every day is going by and, oh, I got through another day, oh, good. Like if this is really what life has come to, we got to do something about that. Like what makes you have fun? Getting together with friends. What do you like? Do you like to dance? Do you like to sing? I just joined a choraleers, and I'm having the best fun, and I'm singing songs from old time, and I'm just loving it. And so I think we need to find things that we like and to do it. Whatever you used to do and maybe you're not doing anymore. You used to play the guitar, pick it up again. If you like music, get involved somehow. If you like movies, rent movies or see movies or go out, or just find what's right for you that makes you enjoy yourself.
I think a key part to that, and you're welcome to jump in and comment at any time, is to make sure that you schedule the time to have the fun. And the second thing is to make sure that the fun doesn't become stressful. By that I mean, travel, whatever you want to do, it's important to have that. But sometimes it can become a stressful thing if you can't afford it. So I think that maybe some of the suggestions would be around how to have alternative type of fun that is affordable and enjoyable, to give you the balance to schedule it. And
you know what? Even if you want to, take a walk in the park, for heaven's sakes, near your house, there's no cost, and there's no cost to a lot of things. That when you get together with friends and have a good laugh, there's really no cost to that, except a cup of tea or coffee. Yeah, and I think we just got to be with people that make us feel upbeat. And if you're feeling like that, you're with people if you feel like you're strangled or something when you're with them, then maybe you shouldn't be with them as often. Maybe you need to be with people who are more upbeat or people that you're feeling comfortable with. And just do the kinds of things that you enjoy. And
people who help to bring out the best in you or help you evolve as a person.
That's right. But some people like to exercise. I mean, some people love to go to the gym and they socialize when they're there. If that's for you, then do it. If you can get there and if it's not too burdensome, like you said.
Or costly.
Yeah,
whatever
or costly.
That could be a stress factor.
That's right. So like if something is really, you know, and you'll know soon enough. If it's too stressful for you, then, you know, step back. But try to, it's a very good point you brought up, because if you insert something in your life and it's a stressor, then there's no point. But just try to keep it simple.
Let's talk about sleep, because I think sleep is another key component that you bring up in the book. And I, for one, as a busy working woman, and I'm sure there's plenty of us others out there that I know of, do not get enough sleep. Yeah. You know, we just try to sleep at night and there's just so much on your mind from what went on during the day. How do we have better sleep?
There's a number of things you can do. You could look at nutrition. You can make sure that you're not eating too much, you know, how much caffeine are you having in a day? You know, simple things. Are you overdosing on caffeine? If you are, you might be up half the night. Are you drinking alcohol before you go to bed, and which will put you to sleep, but then it'll wake you up in the middle of the night? Maybe you need to take some, you know, sleepy time tea. Maybe you need to, about an hour before bed, start slowing down, turning off technology, because all that technology is like it's wiring us. And so we need to start calming ourselves before bed. And make sure if you have sleep apnea, get a checkup, get it looked after, because that can keep people up if they keep waking up every minute because they're not breathing. So there's lots of things that sleep is very important, because if we don't get enough sleep, our body will start deteriorating, because the body has to rejuvenate. So we must have, 7 hours sleep or 8 hours. So that's stress, but you know what, it is not that stressful, so we gotta let it go. Right?
Okay.
Right.
So we have about 5 minutes left, and I just want to say, let's talk about sex. Sex is an important part of relationships.
Yeah.
How do we have more of it and enjoy it as women?
Well, first of all, you got to have a good relationship with the person that you want to have sex with, unless, that's you. But I mean, if for women, it's usually most important that you have that relationship first. And to get along well, and that for women is more. I don't know if men have that as much as women do, but women really have that way. They need to have that, feel-good factor with the person that they're with. So then you got to make sure that your relationships are good. What's your communication style with that person? There got to be no put-downs. We got to make sure you're not spending too much money. You got to, you got to look at all the things that make a relationship work. And so I think that's, and spend time together. And be affectionate.
It makes time to have a date.
Time to have a date and go out.
And nurture those relationships.
That's right. You got to nurture it. You got to nurture it. And sometimes we take people for granted if we've been with them a long time. So we need to, remember what attracted to us to that person in the first place. And
right. We talked in the book about letting love in your life and how important it is to do that. And we're just about running out of time. So now I want to give you a chance to do what I call shameless promotion. Look in the camera and tell all our female viewers today why they have to have this book, because we know it's different than every other book that's on stress management out there. So tell us why we need it, and we'll wrap up the segment.
Well, I wrote this book because I wanted to give something to women that was a guide on many different topics, so sort of like your wellness wheel. I wanted to make it fun, and I put cartoons in every single chapter. I had them commissioned. I had to think the cartoons up, mind you, but I gave topics, and you can really, it doesn't have to be read from one chapter to the next. You can pick what is right for you, because everyone has a different view on what they need. There's self-positive attitudes, self-talk, because very often we talk negatively to ourselves, and that brings us down more, and our stress levels get worse. I also talk about overcommitment on the first chapter, how to get out of it. It's so important. And time management, how to structure our day so that we're not harried all the time. The health buffers, exercise, nutrition, sleep. I just try to make it fun, down to earth, as well as great tips and research. I did a lot of research for this book, so I think you'll find it very informative as well as easy to read and fun, and help your stress levels reduce greatly.
Now, Rosalie, where can we get this book?
Well,
If you're not lucky enough to be one of the 4 people to email me at Janette, Janette, at yourmarketingmagnet.com to win one of these copies, where can we get this book?
Well, there's a couple of places. You can get it on Amazon.com under Frazzled Hurried Woman. You can buy it on there as a print book and also as on the Kindle version. Soon it'll be available all over the net, but right now that's where it is. And also at Indigo Chapters, Bayview Village has it right now, and we'll be expanding to the rest of the stores and all over Canada and U.S.
And can we order it off your website as well?
Yes, you should be able to get it right off my website.
So your website is?
www.healthinharmony.com. That's HEALTHIN harmony.com.
And you also have www.frazzledhurriedwoman.com.
Yeah.
I think we're going to flash your website as well and a link to it. And also don't forget that you can also get Food and Mood, which is Rosalie's CD, which will talk to you about how, and then we have your website right up now with, also has your book there. Food and Mood is Rosalie's CD that talks about the combination and the relationship between food and your mood. It's also very good. I also wanted to make mention of one last thing in closing, that this is an updated version of this book, that you actually had this book released a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
What is in this book that is not in the first edition?
First of all, the first edition, I call it my test book.
Okay.
And I just brought it out. I did not publish it for market. I wanted to test it and see. And then things changed in the marketplace, and I decided to wait. And then I decided to update it, and now I felt it was the right time. And I added a lot more research and a lot more chapters, one on menopause. And there's a lot more research in each, in all the book.
All right, Rosalie, we're out of time, so I want to thank you so much for being our guest today on my first opening show.
Oh, thank you so much.
Wonderful to have you here. Ladies, stay tuned. It's going to get very hot in here. We've got 3 of Toronto's firemen from the 2012 catalog coming in to talk to us next. We have Mr. November Emile and 2 other surprise visitors. Looking forward to speaking with them. We're going to learn a little bit more about what they're doing to make lung cancer more, raise awareness of that, and raise some funds for the Princess Margaret Hospital. So stay with us, and don't forget that you can call in if you have a question to 416-665-7500. We'll see you on the other half of this break. Stay with us.
Okay.
Because you gotta go. And we're back on I'm Every Woman. I'm pleased to introduce to you ladies 2, sorry I promised 3, but only 2 could come. One had an emergency, of the hottest firemen from the 2012 calendar.
Woo!
And
Yeah.
we have Emile, who is Mr. November, but he was Mr. January last year, so he's got his Mr. January shirt on.
Yes.
And we have Ty, who is Mr. March with us. Now, ladies, if you would like to get either copy of the calendar autographed by these 2 magnificent men, please email Janette, Janette, at yourmarketingmagnet.com. The first few people in will qualify and get the calendar, and I'll have them signed for you. And if you'd like to ask a question, please feel free to call in. The phone number here is 416-665-7500. And I'm going to start the interview.
All right.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having us. Excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here, and thank you for coming to my very first I'm Every Woman show.
Yes.
I understand you guys do this strictly on a volunteer basis.
Yes.
And that's amazing. How did it all start?
About maybe 6 or 7 years ago, Princess Margaret, they were involved in the charity calendar years before that, but they wanted to keep it in-house. So they recruited some of the volunteer guys that wanted to really put this calendar together and shape it up and keep the ball rolling, so to speak, I guess. So Princess Margaret put out their first calendar about 7 years ago, Toronto Firefighter calendar. It's been selling out every year.
I wonder why.
We love it. All the proceeds go to Princess Margaret.
Yes.
Listen to this. We've raised $1 million in 5 years.
Wow, that's
so
fantastic.
It's huge, and we're so happy and so excited. And so many volunteers. If it wasn't for all the guys coming together on a volunteer basis, this wouldn't happen. So it's amazing.
So the money that you raise is awareness, and the funds that you raise is for lung cancer, predominantly,
not
or
specifically.
all cancers?
They call it the Princess Margaret Cancer Research Fund. The study is to narrow down different parts of cancer, lung. I did the pancreas, and I think they did colon. But it all goes to Princess Margaret, which is amazing.
It does, and then, of course, Princess Margaret is a leading hospital for even women's cancers like cervical
100%.
and breast
Yes.
cancer, which is great because, you know, we have a lot of women watching the show.
Yes.
I want to know, how hard is it, Mr. March, to become part of the calendar? What do you have to do to get to pass the audition?
It's actually it's fun, but it is nerve-wracking because you know what, most of us we're not performers. We save lives. We give back to the community, and to get on the calendar, there's actually a competition. So last year we actually had a competition just to get on the calendar, where we had to get up on stage and, you know, show a little love, do a little dance.
How do we show a little love? Get up and show me some love.
A little bit of love.
Oh,
There you
you
go.
ladies see this?
Just a little bit.
That-
a little
I
bit.
can't do that with my pecs.
They dance to the music sometimes.
Yes. Okay. So you really have to prepare. You have to become a dancer. You have to get into a competition. How
Yeah.
do you get prepared for it? What are some of the things you did, and how long did you spend?
Well, you know what? A lot of guys, we train very hard. You know, hitting the gym all the time.
Dieting.
Dieting is huge, and we love food. Firefighters love food. We can eat, so you know, having to cut back on certain foods and just to be ripped and prepared for the show. You want to be as lean as you can be.
For sure.
So when you do take your shirt off, it looks okay.
Get ready for the photos.
I understand there's also some women involved in the calendar now. There's one picture of a woman.
There
in
is.
our
Linda's
file.
in this calendar. We're lucky to have her.
Yeah.
And when
Linda's
did that
a
start?
competitive swimmer.
Here, she's in February.
She's great, in amazing shape, great abs, great shoulders. Linda's great. She's a veteran firefighter. She's been on longer than me, but she's actually a competitive swimmer. She went to the Fire Police Games, and she's ranked very high.
There you are, Emile.
Yes,
Mr.
November.
Right here.
That was a hot, wet day.
And who's your
That's
counterpart?
Jim. Jim is a captain in Toronto, and I've been in the calendar with Jim many years, and he's our oldest guy.
I see. And you have been in before, right? You were Miss January last year. Were you in before too, Todd?
I was in last year's calendar as well. Yes.
And is it hard to get back in? I mean, it's hard to get in to begin with, but is it hard to get back in?
The competition is
There's times
it's every year, and it's hard. Yes, it's fun. We're very, very nervous getting on stage. The women just go crazy at the calendar events and launch party, and we just have a blast. We have a lot of fun, and we look forward to it every year.
How many events do you do in a year?
30 to 40 sometimes.
Wow,
It's concentrated. The calendar gets released around September, October. It sells heavily, and a lot of the events are up and leading up to Christmas as a stocking stuffer. But we do so many events.
Stuffers.
Yeah, exactly. And even after the new year, we're still doing a lot of events, and people call us with their charities. We help. They come to our charity, and we promote, and it's fun.
And there's no cost for this, right? You do not get paid for this.
Not at all, zero. No one gets paid. All the money goes to Princess Margaret, and we're so proud to say that.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
I know you have a couple of events coming up, and one
Yes.
of them actually is the Thursday, December 15th. It's the launch of a celebration of women.
That will be fun, for
That
sure.
will
I
be
know
fun.
that.
I will be there because I'm actually friends with both Catherine and Randy, the
Excellent,
organizers of
excellent,
the
yes.
event, and I will be there. And I hope you all will be there too.
You
The
will
tickets
see a
are
show.
available. There's a networking that starts at 7:30 at $20 advance tickets. You go to clubzone.com to get your tickets. They're 20 in advance, 25 at the door, and $20 cover after 10. I will be there. You guys will be there.
Oh, you'll have a blast.
I can't wait to see you on the dance floor. Maybe even
Yes.
join you on the dance
Oh,
floor.
100%.
And just back to a few things I wanted to mention. So you do a lot of events, and you mentioned that it's quite crazy that the women just go mad for you. I
Yes.
mean, Ladies, do you wonder why? Look at these beautiful men here, who actually are very giving of your heart and your time. It's amazing what you're doing to raise that kind of money for cancer research. I wanted to ask you, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened at one of these events?
Can't say.
Can't say. That bad, huh?
No, it's just everyone has such a good time. It's great. There's so many photos being taken, and there's always hugs and kisses and big hugs and all that stuff. And we do a lot of shots with all the guys and a lot of girls, bachelorette parties, girls wearing their wedding gowns, coming for some pictures and things like that. It's a blast. We have a lot of good times.
But you mentioned that, has there ever been really anything that has happened that you've regretted, or, you don't want to tell your mother about?
No regrets. No, it's fun. I'll give you an example. A few weeks ago, we were at a party, and the women said, "Take your shirt off. We need pictures. We need pictures."
That's right. Take your shirt off.
So
We need pictures.
one of the guys answered back, "Go, take off yours." That's
And
just
she
to be
did.
a little sarcastic. They did. So there was a bunch of girls taking off their tops.
Oh, that sounds like crazy.
I believe they were in bras, so that was cool.
Okay.
But it was fun. It's just everyone's having a good time, so it's good.
How has being in the calendar affected your lives personally? Like, are you more popular than you used to be? Do you have women lined up to want to date you, assuming that you're still single? How's it worked out for you?
It's been pretty good. I mean, you do get recognized on the street sometimes, right? They're like, "Oh, are you a firefighter?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yes." I'm like, "I know you're on the calendar, aren't you?" And then you're like, "Yeah," they start talking to you. So it's a good opener for people to come talk to you, and that's a good way for us to promote the calendar as well, just to raise more awareness and let them know that what we're doing is all for Princess Margaret. So.
And has this led to other opportunities? I mean, have you thought about doing some modeling or some acting? Either of you?
Ty's done some modeling.
Well, I do some modeling on outside of the job as well. So I do some fitness modeling as well, and I get recognized from there too.
Where can we see your fitness modeling ads?
Well, as an example, I did one gig for Toronto Gay Pride, and I get hired as one of the TD boys, right? So I'm there in like green Speedos.
Yeah.
And the guys there, they'll come up to you like, "Oh, you're a fireman." I'm like, "Yes." And they're like, "You're on the cover this year." Well, this is last year, right?
Exactly.
And they start talking to you, and you're nice to them, and everyone's having a fun time, and it's good. So
Does the fame ever go to your head?
no.
No?
It's funny. The guys talk about this all the time. When our year is up and we're sold out of calendars and we come around January, February, there's not too many more events, and we fizzle away. We actually get a little depressed, and we can't wait for the next event. So the guys say, "That was busy, but you know what? We miss it." So yeah, it goes to our heads a little bit.
Well, we have to wrap up, so I just wanted to remind everyone how they can claim these autographed copies of the calendar. They're worth $20 each.
They are.
And you can email me, Janette, JANETTE, at yourmarketingmagnet.com to claim it. The first 4 in will get it. Of course, you can see them at many events, including the one on December 15th. We mentioned how to get the tickets for that. Again, it's at visit www.clubzone.com to meet these guys live at the event. And I want to mention...
They're sold at Chapters and Indigo.
Chapters and Indigo. You can also go online to get it.
Correct,
Your website
online.
address is?
It's at Princess Margaret website or our own Toronto Firefighter calendar.ca.
Okay, and the Princess Margaret one, we will be
PMH,
putting that up?
you'll find that.
It's www.onofc.ca, and we will be putting that up as well. And in closing, I would just like to thank you for coming, and want to wish you all the best. I look forward to seeing you again at the events. Any other things that you want to just quickly mention?
We always say thank you to our fans that sell out this calendar every year, and we've raised $1 million in 5 years, and we're so excited about that. So we want to always say thank you to our fans.
Definitely.
Thank you for buying.
And also, let's not forget that these guys are trained firemen who go out and fight fires and save lives. And that in itself, it takes a lot of work, and I'm sure it takes a lot of training. How hard is it to be a fireman?
Getting on the job is so difficult. There's so many, even recently, there's so many highly qualified guys coming out of training and school that want to become firefighters. So it's very difficult getting on. But when you're on, you're so proud. and it makes your mama proud.
Right, and
So
I'm
it
wondering
means a
if
lot to
this
us.
has anything, a resurgence of people wanting to join the fireman force,
Yes.
just to be
A lot of the new
featured.
recruits, a lot of the new
Yes,
recruits
want
jump at
that.
it. They really want to come in because they feel that it's
It's
a
a-
little bit of fame, but it's giving back, and that's
It
what they
is
want to
giving
do.
Okay, well, thank you so much, guys.
Thank
We're
you.
out of time. Again, this is Emil, Mr. November, and this is Ty, Mr. March. Don't forget to
Woo!
get your calendars or qualify to win here. And we're going to take a quick little break, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to I'm Every Woman. I just want to thank all my guests today, Rosalie Moscoe and the Toronto Firefighters, for being here. I want to thank you for being here. And I want to remind you that this show is for you. This time is for you. I encourage you to be all you can be and muster anything you want, just like the I'm Every Woman song says, written by and performed by Shaka Khan. For those of you who know me as Janette Burke, your marketing magnet, I just wanted to also mention that while my mandate here is to bring you all the topics you need to thrive and survive in your personal life and to blend your personal and professional life, I'm also here to help you have the business of your dreams. Janette Burke, your marketing magnet, with the Magnetic Marketing PR Process, which is my marketing coaching and training system for women entrepreneurs, whom I like to call fempreneurs. With it, you will receive all the ideas, feedback, critiques, tools, resources, contacts, turnkey templates, scripts, everything you need to take the guess out of marketing and make your business successful faster, easier, so you can work less and earn more. For more information on my coaching programs, visit www.yourmarketingmagnet.com. I have one-to-one and group options to suit your needs. And to also help you lead and succeed, I have created a book called 67 Plus Ways to Promote Yourself and Make Money Today. You can get that book for free when you visit www.yourmarketingmagnet.com. Input the information in the sign up on the side. You get the book, and you also get my report, the Magnetic Marketing Report, together for free. It's a total retail value of $350, and it's my gift to you absolutely free. I want you to lead and succeed, and I want to help you through all the different aspects of a woman's needs and topics. So I look forward to seeing you again on I'm Every Woman.